Good morning students. Welcome to online classes. Students, today we are going to read that is chapter 1 title that is Challenges of Nation Building from the book Politics in India since Independence. Politics in India since independence. From that book we are going to read that is the first chapter Challenges of Nation Building, and this is part 2 video. And students, today we are going to complete the following topics. One is partition, displacement and rehabilitation, process of partition, consequences of partition. So these topics we are going to cover today in this video. Students, partition, what does it mean? It means division, dividing, demarcating of territory. Okay, now students, you all know our country India or our United India was partitioned on 14th and 15th August 1947, the day on which we got independence. And it was partitioned on the basis of the plan given by Lord Mountbatten, the last viceroy of British India. Lord Mountbatten was the last viceroy of British India. He came up with one proposal, one plan, and according to that plan, our United India was partitioned into two countries. One is Bharat and second is what? Pakistan. So Lord Mountbatten plan or Mountbatten plan, based on that only the partition was happened. So the partition was not, it is not an easy task. It was very complicated, very difficult and a gigantic task which was done at that time. It was not done easily. And moreover, after partition, displacement of people, rehabilitation, these problems were erased. Moreover, in the process of partition, there come so many problems. So those problems also we will study in this video. And after partition, what are the consequences, what are the results took place, whether they are beneficial or harmful for us, that also we will read in this video. So students, on 14th and 15th August 1947, not one country but two nations came into existence. One is India and one is Pakistan. Though we got independence, India got independence, but at the same time, on that day, two nations came into existence. One is India and second is what? Pakistan, or Bharat or Pakistan. This was a result of partition. Why? Why two nations came into existence? Because of partition. And the division of British India into two. British India earlier, when we were under colonial rule. So the British India was divided due to partition into two nations, that is what? India and Pakistan. The drawing of the boundaries or the drawing of border demarcating the territory, or drawing of borders or demarcating the territory of each country marked the culmination of several political developments. Several political developments are responsible for the demarcating, for drawing the boundaries of both the countries. And this you will read in a History Theme 3 book. Okay students, now here it comes one theory that is called two-nation theory. Two-nation theory. This two-nation theory was proposed by the Muslim League political party which was there at that time. Just like our Indian National Congress, there was Muslim League party also there, where maximum Muslim leaders are there in that party. So the two nation theory was proposed by Muslim League. It was their theory, and the Muslim League brought this theory, and they said that in India there is, in India only one people are not there, but two types of people are there. That is Hindus and Muslims. Muslim League with the two nation theory, they said that in India there is two types of people are there, India, Hindus and Muslims. Okay, and they said that for Muslims they demanded a separate nation, separate country, and this demand was not immediate. They started this demand since 1940s. Since 1940s. In 1945 August, I remember, they declared achievement of Pakistan. That day they declared as what? Direct Action Day. So the two nation theory advanced by the Muslim League. Who gave that one? Muslim League. India consisted of not one but two people, Hindus and Muslims. That is why it demanded Pakistan a separate country for Muslims. Who demanded? Muslim League. Separate country for Muslims. The Congress at that time, Indian National Congress, opposed this demand for partition or separate country for Muslims. It opposed the separate state for Muslims. It also opposed the two nation theory, but due to the British rule and the demand of Muslim League, finally it was agreed for the partition. Hence two nations came to existence. One is Bharat, another is what? Pakistan. Now students, now we will go to the next step, that is process of partition. As I told you, partition was done not with an easy process. It was a very big process to do partition. There should be some base. On what base this partition has to be done. And while doing partition, when the process was taking place, so many problems we encountered. So now we are going to read the process of partition and what are the problems that we faced or our leaders faced at that time by doing this one. So it was decided that what was still then known as India, United India, would be divided into two countries. Yes, agreed. India and Pakistan. Such a division was not only very painful but also very difficult to decide. The partition is done with a lot of pain. Nobody is, Hindus are not willing. Even if Muslims also not willing that one. So the partition of United India was done with a lot of pain and with a lot of difficulty. And to implement also it will be very difficult. It was decided to follow the principle of religious majorities. First they decided, we will do the partition on the basis of religious majorities. That means in whichever areas Muslims are more in number or majority, in whichever areas Muslims are more in number or majority, those areas will be taken by Pakistan, given to Pakistan, and remaining part will remain in the hands of India. Okay, so principle of religious majorities. This basically means that the areas where the Muslims were in majority would make up the territory of Pakistan. The rest was to stay with India. Fine. Now, the idea might appear simple. People thought it is very simple that wherever Muslims are in majority, those areas will be merged with Pakistan territory and remaining will be stay with what? India. The idea is very easy, but it was difficult to implement. See, what are the difficulties that come? This idea might appear simple, but it presented all kinds of difficulties. What are those difficulties? Let us see. First of all, there was no single belt of Muslim majority. There was no single belt of Muslim majority areas in British India. That means Muslims are not at one place. Okay, they are living in different areas. Some Muslims are living in the eastern part of India. Some Muslims are living in the western part of India. Some are living in the southern part of India. Some are living in the northern part of India. So there is no single belt of Muslim people at that time in British India. There were two areas of concentration, but mainly Muslims are more in two areas. One in the west and the other one is in the east. Okay, there was no way that these two parts can be joined. East means Bangladesh, present Bangladesh. West means our present Pakistan. So both are, in quite opposite in long distance. In the middle, the area is there, the territory is there where Hindus are more. And these two regions cannot be joined. These two territories cannot be joined due to vastness. So there was no way that these two parts could be joined. So it was decided that the new country has to be formed, that is Pakistan. And these two territories, east and west part where Muslims are majority, will be given to the control of Pakistan. So hence Pakistan was formed, a new country came into existence, a new nation came into existence, and east and west parts where more majority of Muslims are there were given control to Pakistan. Okay. Now, second important problem. Secondly, not all Muslim majority areas wanted to be in Pakistan. There are some Muslim areas where Muslims are majority, but they have not showed their willingness to join with Pakistan. They want to be with India only. That's another problem. So secondly, not all Muslim majority areas wanted to be in Pakistan. And this statement was supported by one famous person, political leader or nationalist leader at the time, that is Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan is also known as Frontier Gandhi. He is the undisputed leader in the Northwest Frontier Province, NWFP, also called Frontier Gandhi. He is against of creation of Pakistan. He is against of two nations theory. He was not willing that United India should be partitioned into two countries. Okay, but though he opposed the two nation theory, but his voice was ignored by other political leaders or nationalist leaders of Muslim League Party. Okay, and ignored, and the Northwest Frontier Province was made to merge with Pakistan. So Northwest Frontier Province also was added into Pakistan. Now east, west part, eastern part, western part, and Northwest Frontier part all joined into the territory of Pakistan. The third important problem was that the third problem was that two of the Muslim majority provinces of British India, namely Punjab and Bengal. In Punjab, more Muslims were there. In Bengal, more Muslims were there. And this Bengal and Punjab both are very big provinces. The Punjab province is very big province, students. The Punjab state, which is there at present in India, it is very small for you. But actually larger part of Punjab was there in Pakistan. It went into the territory of Pakistan. Similarly, West Bengal. West Bengal actually it is the present Bangladesh and West Bengal, even parts of Assam, all together is called Bengal state. Bengal province. So, but today we are having a small part in our Indian Union, and major part went into what? Bangladesh. So these are the two majority Muslim areas, Punjab and West Bengal. Had very large areas where the non-Muslims were in majority. Along with the Muslims, non-Muslim people also there. For example, our Bengalis who are in West Bengal are also there. Eventually, it was decided that these two provinces would be bifurcated. When Bengal and Punjab, both Hindus and Muslims are there, and Muslims are majority, but Hindus are also there. So, what to do? Whether it has to go with India or Pakistan? That's the problem. So, it is decided that Punjab and West Bengal will be bifurcated. Hence, Punjab was divided. A major part of Punjab went to Pakistan and small part come to India. Similarly, the Bengal also divided into two provinces. A major part went into Pakistan and a small part came into Indian territory. Now, this decision could not be made by the midnight of 14th 15th August. I mean, this partition, or I can say bifurcation, was not done immediately on the night of 14th 15th August 1947. It meant that a large number of people did not know on the day of independence whether they are living in India or Pakistan. See the students, please notice here, when our country got independence, when the partition was happened, when two nations were emerged, then the people who are living in both the countries, they were not aware that where they are living, whether they are living in India or they were living in Pakistan. At that time, like today, the communication system was not well advanced. So many people are not aware whether they are living in Pakistan or India. That is the problem. Okay, the partition of these two provinces, I mean what, Punjab and Bengal. Okay, I mean Bengal people, they are in, it was divided in two parts. Some came to India, some went to Pakistan. So they are not aware whether they are in Pakistan or India. That is the problem. Okay, the partition of these two provinces caused the deepest trauma of partition. Now, the fourth problem. This was related to the fourth and the most, intractable of all the problems of partition. This was the problem of minorities in both the sides of the border. I mean, when Pakistan was formed, they opted Pakistan, a separate country, and we opted India. But still there are some Hindus who are living in that area. And here also in India, there are some Muslims are living. And those who are living in small in number in both the countries, they are treated as what? Minorities. So the minority problem arose in both the countries. And their life was very difficult at the time. Lakhs of Hindus and Sikhs in the areas that were now in Pakistan, and equally large number in Muslims in Indian side of Punjab and Bengal, okay, found themselves trapped. And the people who are there in Pakistan, Hindus who are there in Pakistan, the Muslims who are there in India, both are trapped at that time. They were to discover that they were undesirable aliens in their own home. I mean, the place where they took their birth, they brought up, their ancestors were there, and today they are treated as aliens in their own country. This is the situation happened due to partition. Okay, so these people treated as aliens. I mean, Hindus in Pakistan, Muslims in India. Though they were born in the same place, same land, but they treated as what? Aliens. Okay, in the land where their ancestors lived for centuries. As soon as it became clear that the country was going to be partitioned, the minorities of both the sides became easy targets of attack. When the people come to know that the partition is going to take place, so who were attacked more? The minorities from both the sides. No one had quite expected that the scale of this problem will be this much. No one had any plans for that. No one had any plans for handling this situation, situation of minorities. Initially, the people thought, and even the political leaders also thought, both people and political leaders thought that this violence will be ended very soon, within days. But it continued for months. Next, the minorities on both the sides of the border were left with no other option except to leave their homes, and often at a few hours notice. I mean, the notice was given, with a short period of notice was given, and within hours they have to leave that country. Either they have to opt Pakistan or they have to go to India. Otherwise they will be treated as what? Minorities. So with a short notice, within few hours, they have to leave the place, they have to migrate. And many people, by leaving their properties, their houses, okay, with clothes and some eatables, they started moving in their bullock carts and other means of transport. Okay. These minorities face a lot of problem when they are migrating from one place to another. Even several minorities, they took shelter in the refugee camps for many days. Okay, for many days. Now students, we are going to another topic that is called consequences of partition. I mean, what are the results of partition? What was happened after partition? Several problems might have took place. What are they? Let us study them. There were killings and atrocities on both the sides of the borders. Hindus were killed in Pakistan, some Muslims were killed in India, atrocities on Muslims in India, atrocities on Hindus in Pakistan, it took place. Minorities on both the sides of the border fled their home. Minorities, they left their home, they fled away from their home and often secured temporary shelter in the refugee camps, as I told you earlier. While recounting the trauma of partition, writers and poets, when the partition happened, at that time several writers and poets have often used the phrase that the survivors themselves used to describe as partition as a division of hearts. Writers and poets, in their writings, they described this partition as what? The division of hearts. Why? Because till that day, people of this united India, both Hindus and Muslims, they lived together like brothers and sisters, but now they were separated. So it's a division of hearts. There were competing political interests behind these conflicts. I mean, several political interests are there behind this conflict between Hindus and Muslims. The Muslim League was formed. Why it was formed? It was actually, Muslim League is a political party that was formed to fight against the British rule in their 1906. And the founder was Salimullah Khan, not Muhammad Ali Jinnah. Salimullah Khan is the founder of Muslim League in 1906. From that time, it was working along with Indian National Congress against the common enemy, Britishers. So the Muslim League was formed to protect the interests of the Muslims in colonial India. Similarly, there were organizations which were trying to organize the Hindus in order to turn India into a Hindu nation. Most of the leaders of the national movement believed that India must treat person or all persons equally without taking religion into consideration. I repeat, the most of the leaders of the nationalist movement believed that India must treat persons of all religions equally, and that India should not be a country that gave superior status to adherents on one faith and inferior to those who practice another religion. That means India adopted secularism. Though India adopted secularism, at the same time it treats all the religions equally. Today also we are doing the same thing. Though we are Hindus, but we are treating Muslims, Christians, Sikhs all equally in our country India. So this was decided by the nationalist leaders at that time. Last consequence, students. All citizens should be equal irrespective of their religious affiliation. Being religious or a believer would not be a test of citizenship. I mean, any religion person in India who is staying here is given the citizenship of India. So these are the consequences, students. Students, this is the end of our today's topics. With some more topics will come in our next video. Till then, take care.